Okay guys, Michael with Juggernaut. Hopefully you can hear me. What we're doing today is we're going to be repairing a cast aluminum bracket. This is for an older Corvette, and the shop that needs this can't find this part. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go through the process of welding up some cast aluminum, okay? Today, we're running our Everlast 255 EXT. We're going to be running it on AC mode. I set my machine about 200 amps, and I've got my my frequency at 133, I believe, and my AC balance at 30. So with cast aluminum, any aluminum, it's very imperative that you get it cleaned up well. You can see all the grease and grime in this thing. And what I generally do is take a bottle torch. It doesn't have to be MAP gas, but propane, whatever. I'm going to heat this thing up really well, kind of cook this oil off of here. I'll use a stainless steel wire wheel. Always stainless steel brushes when you're working with aluminum or stainless. Mild steel brushes for mild steel. What'll happen is with that mild steel wheel, it'll embed the wire, the mild steel wire, into your aluminum. So that's why you want to use stainless. We're going to have to preheat this thing pretty well, and then we'll weld it up, and what we'll do is we'll wrap it up in some ceramic wool. If you have fiberglass, that'll work. One of these, this isn't an actual Tig finger from Weldmonger. This is a Black Stallion version. But when these things get all worn out, like this one, get all beat up, that's what I'll generally use it for, is wrapping this stuff up after we weld it, so that it cools slowly and doesn't crack again. Okay, so sorry there. So what I've done is I've heated it up really well with my torch. Now I'm cleaning it up with a stainless steel wire wheel. This one's pretty aggressive. It's a DeWalt brand. The center is going to be black, and that's how you can tell it's the stainless steel one. And it'll be labeled on the wheel itself and on the package. The wire wheels with the yellow center are mild steel, so that's a good way to tell. But you can see that cast aluminum is very porous, okay? You can see, cleaning it up with the wire wheel, there are still little flecks of black grease inside there. So what I'll do is I'll clean that up with some denatured alcohol or acetone. Same with the other piece. It looks a lot better than it did, but there are still little flecks in there, and that will affect your weld. So I'll continue to clean this up. Always wear safety glasses when you're doing this, because these wires do come flying out of there. They'll stick in your clothes, they'll stick in your eye. I've had metal removed from my eye multiple times, even wearing safety glasses, so be very careful. Kind of hard to weld if you can't see, so you know, try to practice safety as much as possible. All right, so I've got my parts all cleaned up, right? Wire wheeled, cleaned off with denatured alcohol. I did not bevel this side just because there's not a lot of room before you hit that bolt hole, but the other side I did bevel. Okay, I'll show you that. Sorry for the crazy camera angles and shakiness, but this side is beveled on both parts, just so we know we get quite a bit of material in there. Try to strengthen that thing up a little bit. If you just kind of lay a cold weld on top of it. Yeah, the surface tension might hold it for a while, but it's probably going to break again over time. So with cast aluminum, again, we're going to preheat this up. We're going to get it about 250 to 300 degrees. I've got a thermal temp gun here. If you don't have one of those, you can put the pieces in your oven or a toaster oven, get it up to that temp, hurry up and put it together and weld it up. But we're going to use our bottle torch, get it nice and hot, get it to that temperature. I'm using my strong hand tools little grasshopper. That thing is amazing for holding pieces together like this, because if I were to just balance that piece on top, as soon as I try to establish an arc, it's going to fall off of there and frustrate the hell out of you. So I kind of got it jammed up against my grinder here, and I've got my grasshopper holding it down. We're going to be using our edge welding. This one is a number 4 quartz. The quartz holds up to the heat of AC welding a lot better than the Pyrex does. I mean, I have welded quite a bit of aluminum with their Pyrex and have not had a problem, but their quartz is specifically made for higher temps. So yeah, using our Defiant metal TIG gloves. These things are bitchin'. I always used to use Black Stallion just because they were thin, you had a lot of dexterity. These are a lot thicker and hold up to the heat much better when I'm welding aluminum. Honestly, I haven't been having to use my little finger cover. It's not a TIG finger, whatever the hell they call it. Slides over your 2 fingers so you can drag along the hot aluminum. But these gloves are thick enough to where I haven't been having to wear that a whole lot, and I still have the dexterity. So check those out. Edge has them on their website, and they're priced really well. They've even got them in pink for the ladies. My daughter's got a pink set that she uses. We'll get her out here one of these days and get her TIGging. She's really good with aluminum. So I'll go ahead and get this preheated and get it tacked up, and then I'll get some close-ups. Okay, I've got this thing heated up to 300 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and get this tacked up. We're using 40-43 filler rod only. No 53-56 for cast. Only 40-43. You can buy some specialized rods that are special alloys, but 40-43 is going to be my go-to. Now, cast aluminum is going to appear very differently than, say, 60-61 plate aluminum would be. Okay, it's going to wet out really quick, and it is, you know, no matter how much you clean it, it is going to have a little bit of, it's not going to be the appearance like welding on new plate aluminum. Okay, so I'm going to get this tacked front and back so that it stays lined up. Got that. Now let's get some close-ups of it while I'm welding it up. All right, I think I've got you guys lined up pretty well. Oh, I did. There we go. I'm not great at this filming stuff. I've been doing this for years, and honestly, I like sharing my knowledge. I don't know everything, and again, I've said it in other videos, there will be somebody out there that'll try to talk shit, but this is the way I do it. Like I said, I've been doing it for years and had quite a bit of success with it. I'm gonna try not to inhibit your guys' vision here. I'll try to dab from over here. So using 3/32, 2% lanthanated tungsten, that's the blue one. My edge welding number 4 quartz. with a gas lens. I always used to use a standard collet on aluminum versus a gas lens. You can do either or. I have these badass cups, so why wouldn't I use them? Let's get into this 4043 filler rod again, 3/32 diameter. You're gonna keep your arc length, I don't know, I'd say about 1/8 of an inch off the material. You want to make sure both pieces of parent material are melted before you start to dab. Got a nice puddle established. You're going to see that black soot coming out of it. Like I said, I cleaned it up the best I could, and it's still really nasty. You can see that. That was even after I cooked it off and I cleaned it with the wire wheel. So what I'm going to have to do here, this is going to happen to you. What I'm going to have to do here is clean this up with the wire wheel and come back at it. Every single piece of cast aluminum or any cast iron that I've ever welded is different, okay? This stuff is very porous, wets out really fast. It's pretty nasty. That's some nasty Chinese crap. But let me get it cleaned back up and we'll restart this. Okay, so I went ahead and cleaned it up with the wire wheel again. Put a little more heat back into it with the torch because as I was cleaning it up, it obviously cooled down. We want to keep it heated the entire time. Some videos I've seen, you know, guys are just perfect conditions. I mean, everything is perfect. Don't ever see any problems, right? My videos are going to be different. If I have problems, I'm going to show them to you because you're going to run across that and you're going to want to have to figure out why is that happening and how can I fix it. So I cleaned it up with a little more acetone and wire wheeled it again. What I'm going to do is start back over here and I'm just going to go over it with my cleaning action. I'm not going to wet it out to a puddle. I'm just going to go over it with my cleaning action a few times. And that's what that white frost is that you see. That's your cleaning action. Your DC positive as it's switching back and forth on AC. You can see how very porous this is. And as I get down to this end, it looks like a sponge, right? So we're definitely going to have to, if you get your filler rod and just start jamming new material in there, it will straighten out, okay? So let's go for it. I'm backing off my heat a little bit. Okay, I'm backing off my heat just a little as I go. Dabbed a little extra at the end there so that we're not creating a crater. Okay, now I'm going to grab my stainless steel brush and we're going to brush that out again. Okay, and we're going to check the appearance of it. If it's got a bunch of, whoa, that's hot. If it's got a bunch of holes in it, then you're going to want to go back over that. But it's looking pretty good right now. Got good penetration. Like I said, this stuff is wetting out really fast. And depending on the cast, it will. So even when you're heating it with your bottle torch, you want to be very careful that you don't overheat it. You can melt this stuff into oblivion, and then you're screwed. But we're going to go ahead and weld up. Let's see. Let's go ahead and weld up the backside. I have a feeling this is going to be pretty nasty. Like I said, even after cleaning and heating multiple times, it's still pretty nasty. So let you guys see that. I'm going to go ahead and strike my arc over here. Got my arc length about 1/8 of an inch. And when you first start beginning, you're going to be dipping your filler rod into your tungsten. You know, you'll notice that if you have too tight of an arc length with aluminum, your puddle grows so much. that when you dab, the puddle will grow and it'll hit your tungsten. So make sure you've got a nice clean tungsten when you start. Sharpen it up. I have a Piranha tungsten sharpener, but if you don't have one, just clean it up and get it cleaned up, get a nice angle on it, like 30-degree angle on it. You can do it on a belt sander if you want to. You can chuck up your tungsten in a drill and use a nice fine flap wheel on your grinder. And as long as your grind marks are going with the direction of the tungsten, you're going to be okay. The finer that is, the better off you're going to be. You can find some pretty cheap tungsten sharpeners now on like Amazon and stuff, and you can just put a good diamond wheel on it. There's a couple of brands that sell specific tungsten grinders that are almost like a Dremel, and they've got a diamond wheel on it, right? Well, my wife had bought me one of those cheap ones a couple years back for me to take on mobile work, because that big expensive Piranha, I don't like to take out mobile. She bought me one, I want to say it was like $100 or $120 on Amazon. And what I did was I just went to my local welding supply shop. They had the good diamond discs for that name brand one, and they happen to fit perfect. So that's kind of a hack, because the cheap Chinese ones, the first time you grind a tungsten on it, it's going to wear a groove and take the diamond right off of there. So yeah, always make sure your grind marks are going with the tungsten, with the direction of the tungsten. On aluminum, what you'll do is you'll grind your tungsten to a point, and then you're just going to barely take the end of it off. Okay, it's called blunting. So you're going to blunt the tip just a little bit, because on AC power, it's going to want to, the finer that tip is, it's going to want to blow that into your material. Okay, so let's go ahead and go for it. What I did there was, the beginning of this was nice and clean. I went ahead and dabbed a few dabs of my filler rod, and then I just ran my cleaning action back and forth a few times, because I could see that was really filthy. So again, we want to keep this thing up to heat the whole damn time we're welding on it. You want to keep this thing up to temp, because if it cools off too quickly, it's going to become brittle, just like cast iron. It's going to become brittle, and it will break again, okay? So, got that cleaned back up. I'm going to go for it now. And you can see how porous that is, these little holes, these little pinholes. And what I'm going to do is, as soon as I get this wetted out, I'm going to jam some good filler rod in it, because the parent material is so shitty. We want to jam some good material in there that we can use. And that's wetting out really fast. So you can see right there, I've got a little bit of undercut there. So, sorry, I know I'm blocking this thing with my finger insulator, I'm going to call it. I don't want to call it by the brand name, I guess. But you can, there's a dude named Mong Welder out there. Well, that's the name of his site. Dude is a wealth of knowledge, man. Mad props to that guy. I'd love to meet him in person sometime. That guy is just, one of the best welders I've ever seen in my life. And then, Everlast has got a crew of welders that are just phenomenal. There's, Jesse McCollum is kind of an idol of mine. That dude stacked some dimes. I mean, the guy, again, he's a wealth of knowledge as well, and he's an ambassador for Everlast, and he's got some amazing videos out there. So I'm not claiming to be the best, but I've been doing this a while, and either I'm really lucky or I'm decent at what I do. So going over that with my cleaning axe, and again, you can see all the porosity in it. It's like a sponge. I'm backing out of my foot pedal. I'm backing out of my amperage quite a bit on the end here, on that edge, that sharp lip, because I don't want any undercut. So I backed out quite a bit just to where it would stay wet, and filled in that edge, okay? Because it's wanting to peel away, right? Now that's looking pretty darn good there. I could probably dab just a hair up here, which I'll do now. Yeah, I mentioned Jesse McCollum. Check out his videos. Weldmonger. What's his name? I believe his name is Mark Winchester. That dude is freaking sick too. That dude, I mean, those guys' welds look like something that belong in a museum. And like I said, there's some really good knowledge out there on YouTube. I'm just sharing my experience and some of the things that I do. So now what I'm going to do, I've got that all welded up, right? I'm going to take this, I'm going to wrap that really well, okay? And then what I do is I've got ceramic wool as well that I use in a forge. Generally, I'll wrap that up in it, but I'm trying to do this in a manner that most of you guys would be able to do in your home shop. You know, if you don't have all the equipment that I've got, or that some of the guys have access to. So what we're going to do here is I'm just taking an old pair of gloves, and I'm going to wrap this guy up real well. Okay. Go ahead and take our little grasshopper again. Use this thing for every damn thing. We're just going to pack that on there and let that thing cool really slow, okay? The slower you can get this thing to cool down, like I said, with that ceramic wool, you can buy it on Amazon actually, and you don't need that much. But you wrap that thing up in that ceramic wool, and you come over 2 hours later and unwrap it, and it'll still be hot to the touch. With anything cast, you want it to cool as slow as possible. So preheat, lots of cleaning, and cool as slow as possible. You guys saw how much time I spent cleaning that material, and it was still dirty, because aluminum is so porous that on a car like this, obviously that had multiple oil leaks, it just absorbs that. You know, aluminum will absorb oil and grease. A good way also to get it clean is throw it in your oven. Your wife might be pissed when the house smells like burnt oil and it's smoky, but it's a great way to clean it up. You know, I use that method when I powder coat. So let's get this camera shut off here, and I'll show it to you guys after it's cooled. All right, guys, we're all finished up with the repair. It turned out real well. I had it wrapped up for about, I'd say an hour and a half, and it is still too hot to touch. So that fiberglass TIG shield deal worked really well. Like I said, if all you've got is old gloves, you can do it that way. Go to Goodwill and get you a little toaster oven, and they've always got them at Goodwill, and it works. You'll use it for all kinds of things. But you can get your material up to temp that way, and you can also cool it slowly that way. by just turning the timer on. Keep it put it in there, let it cool slowly. Again, we welded that up at 300 degrees, we preheated to 300 degrees, welded it up, and yeah, as long as you get your material good and clean, you shouldn't have any problems. Cast aluminum is very porous, so you're going to have to be liberal. You know, you're going to have to give it quite a bit of filler on. So thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel for real life stuff, and hopefully you learned something. Have a good day.